Today's episode is brought to you by Smart Water. Are you drinking coffee on set? Coffee can really mess up your life. I suggest water, and if you're gonna drink water, it might as well be Smart Water. Just kidding. What is up? My name is Matt, working for Cinematography Database, and today we're going to be continuing our 101 composition series, and we're going to be looking at a simple scene with 4 people at a table, and I'm going to be breaking down and showing you how to cover this scene in pretty much the most straightforward way possible. There's a lot of things that can be done with a scene this complex. You can change the arrangement or the blocking of the characters, and then of course you can do a lot of different things with how you cover it, but I'm going to be showing you the most straightforward procedural TV, movie, safe commercial way of breaking a scene like this or covering it down into different shots, and I hope that you enjoy it and it's helpful for you in your projects. Okay, so I'm going to try to move pretty quickly through this example here to keep this video on the short side, but if you haven't seen the previous Composition 101 videos with matte shots, with zero tilt, with covering a simpler scene, I would go check those out first, or at least watch them after this one. This one's a little bit more of a complex one. Boom, so here we are in this really simple 3-wall set. You can picture that it's a real world location. It would be the same exact thing. We're not gonna worry about lighting, just coverage. So we have 4 people sitting at this table, and when you're beginning to break this down as a filmmaker, it can be a little bit confusing, but I'm gonna show you the most straightforward way. It's not the best way, but it is definitely the easiest way to approach it, in my opinion. So what we're gonna do is we are going to consider these 2 people one person. And we're going to continue these 2 people. Did I say continue? We're going to consider these 2 people one person as well. So you can look at this scene like there's really only 2 people. And then it's pretty straightforward, right? So we have our wide shot, that's camera A, and then we have our over the shoulders, our matte shots that are B and C. So let's look at how this breaks down coverage-wise. Okay, so let's actually visualize the lines that are here now. So like I said, we're going to consider these 2 people and these 2 people the same person, right? So there's only 2 people in this scene, and we're going to keep our cameras on this side of the front 2 people. That's how this is going to work. So we have B, C, and A are wide and 2 close-ups or matte shots, and we'll see that if we move the line between her and him, that this coverage still works. We're still all on the same side of that line, and then again, if we flip it one more time, all the cameras are also still on the right side of that line. So that is the beauty of this setup. It's extremely simple, and this is a formation that you can shoot all at once as well. I've actually shot short films in this style. It's not the best for lighting, but it is super fast. You basically have a wide shot, 2 over the shoulders, and you stay on this side of the line in this conservative type of way, and all the coverage is gonna work out if you compose it correctly. Okay, so that is the blocking or the positioning of the people and the coverage, the positioning of the cameras. But let's look through each one of these cameras. There's a couple more things we need to point out. We're not done just yet. So let's look through camera A. All the cameras represented here in Cine Designer are representing a 16:9 6K Red Dragon, and this is a 50mm lens that we're looking at this wide shot. And the thing to keep in mind is that both of these people are on frame left, looking frame right. It's kind of a crappy arrow. And both of these people are on frame right, looking frame left. And we're gonna keep that consistent through all of this coverage because we have kept all the cameras on one side of the line, no matter who is talking to who, sort of. But we'll look at that last example at the end. As we move into camera B, this is the 2 shot of this couple, and I'll cut back to this so you can see it. That's camera B over there doing this shot. And as we move on to the matte shot or the reverse shot, this is camera C doing the 2 shot of these people. And for reference, that's this camera looking that way. So that is the most basic way of blocking a scene like this. Essentially, we've taken each side of the table and made those essentially one person each, and we're just doing it like a normal wide shot with matte shots over the shoulders. But let's look at what happens now when we want to do singles of each person while keeping the same formation and screen direction and respecting the 180-degree rule. Okay, so now we're going to start with camera B right here, and we're going to be changing our 2 shot to 2 singles instead. So what we're going to do is in Cine Designer, we're going to switch from a 50mm to an 85mm, and we're going to frame up both actors. For our lady talent, we're going to be keeping her on frame right, again looking frame left. And then we're going to pan over and we're going to do the same composition for the guy at the end of the table. This keeps their eye lines the same, and it's going to intercut really well with the 2 shot and the wide shot. So let's look at that really quickly. So here's our wide shot. We cut to our 2 shot, and then we can also cut to our single and our single. Now you might not want to edit these exactly together, but at least their eye direction and their placement in the composition is consistent throughout this edit. Awesome, let's do the same thing for camera C. In Cine Designer, we're going to zoom into an 85mm from a 50mm. We're going to raise the camera slightly up, and we're going to pan left to keep our female talent on the left side of frame, And when we pan to the right, we're going to be also keeping our male talent in the blue shirt, again, on the left side of the frame, looking to the right. That, in my opinion, is the most straightforward way to cover a 4-person dinner scene. They're not all going to look like this, but a lot of them do. And a lot of the coverage will look just like this. So let's do a quick Photoshop edit to see what it kind of edits like. And then we're going to also look at one variation that kind of breaks this thing, but I'll show you why we have to do it. But let's do the edit real quick. We start in our wide shot, and we cut to this couple. And we get to know them. We cut to the other side, and then all of a sudden, we go to her close-up, and she's saying something particular. And she's talking to the woman across the table, so we cut to her. And they have a conversation, and maybe we cut back to the wide shot to reorient each other. From there, what we can do is jump into his close-up, and I guess, you know, the guys are talking to the guys and the girls are talking to the girls, so they're talking to each other just like that. And on the reverse of this one, we cut to the 2 shot and they both react to each other. So that's how this kind of coverage is going to work out. Again, everyone's playing it really safe. They're on their side of the lines. But the question becomes now, what happens if these 2 people are talking to each other in close-up? So with the coverage we have now, we could play the dialogue in close-ups here. You could cut to this shot and then cut back to that for his reaction. You could also kind of cut between these 2 here. But in my opinion, what you want to do is you want to introduce a new line, and that is a line between these 2 people, and also add a new camera, which is camera D up here. So let's look what the difference is here. We're going to go to look through camera C. So this is back to our 85mm, and what we've done is we've put him on the right side of the third here, so that when we cut with camera D, they're on the right sides as we cut between them. This doesn't always have to happen, but you can basically do shot C from the same position. You just have to compose it a little bit differently. You have to make sure that he's on the right side of the frame. And if you technically want to match the shot, if you watch the match shot video, you need to place camera D on the, the equal distance and equal framing and focal length, everything as camera C. And when you edit those together, it's going to look like this. And then from here, you can still basically cut right back to this shot, or this as well. It's still going to work out. But that's how you're going to cover it if you wanted to have dialogue between 2 people on the same side of the table. All that talking just made me dumber. I need some more smart water. I'm so much smarter now. So that wraps it up for this video, for this example. Again, 4 people at a table, you can do it a lot of different ways. So there's blocking, which is how you position the people, and then there's coverage, how you position the cameras. And if you guys really like this example and you want to see even more examples, give this video as many likes as you possibly can. I don't have a goal count for it. The most my videos get at this point, the absolute most likes they ever get, is 1,000 likes. So if we get even anywhere near close to that, I will know that you want to see more of these videos, and I'll do more examples of coverage at tables. A little boring, but it's pretty common in movies, TV, and commercials, so it does make sense to understand it, in my opinion. If you're new to the channel, I would love for you to subscribe to it. We have more content like this, camera reviews. I go into the actual real world and do things sometimes. It's not always in the attic. We have a lot of cool things, and we've got an even greater community here, so I'd love for you to join and subscribe and take place in all the fun. In the comments below, have you used this type of coverage before for a 4-person scene? Have you seen it in movies and TV? I love to find examples of it. I can't show them on the channel, but if you have references to that, I'd love to see those and have those shared with the community. And if there's other ways of covering table scenes like this, I'd also love to see that, and perhaps that will influence the next video I make in this series. You guys get out there and plan better, shoot better. And so a special bonus for the people that hang out for the end card here. Lighting this whole thing, it's a little bit bright. We're lighting this with aperture lights. We have our key light, or kind of on-camera fill. We have our side light, and I also have this deep background light. So this is what this scene looks like without any lights. Background light, side light, front light. That's how we light.